west, with gusts of up to 50 miles per hour expected from Kansas to Minnesota. NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman.
In total, 7 million people under winter alerts. We've got a reduced visibility here across this area, so this is going to be difficult for travel.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know where you are? Well, you've done it now. You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station. So expect the unexpected.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is defending his support for a GOP bill that prevents a government shutdown. More from Sarah Lee Kessler.
Schumer appeared on ABC's The View Tuesday to defend himself against backlash for his vote and security threats that caused him to cancel his upcoming book tour. New York senior senator said if he'd allowed a government shutdown, constituents would be complaining 3 weeks from now, demanding he do something about the cutoff of their Medicaid and veterans benefits, and he'd have to say, I can't, we're in a shutdown. Fellow New Yorker House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is saying he should keep his job as the Senate's top Democrat, and President Trump is calling Schumer's move gutsy and bold.
There's a fast, easy way to file this tax season. More from Natalie Migliori.
Direct File started out as a pilot program last year, and it's now expanding to 25 states, with IRS spokesman Rafael Tolino saying more than 30 million people are eligible to use the free service and file directly with the IRS.
It's expanded, I'm talking about Direct File, from last year to include more income streams, if you will, or different types of income, and then different credits, more credits eligibility-wise as we are in our second year for Direct File.
Tolino says a few 100,000 people used the service last year.
As we get into this year, we hope more people will be using Direct File should they find themselves eligible and want to use it as an option.
He notes Direct File is different than Free File, which allows taxpayers who make $84,000 a year or less to use their choice of software to file their taxes. The IRS expects to process 165 million tax returns this year.
And Frontier Airlines is flying checked bags for free after Southwest announced the end of its more than 50-year free bag policy. Passengers will need to book a nonstop flight from now through August 18th. I'm Michael Kastner.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady despite some signs that the economy could be slowing. Chair Jerome Powell said the Fed is focusing on achieving maximum employment and stable prices. The decision is in line with market expectations and is the second time the Fed has paused rate cuts since January. President Trump says they're very much on track to putting an end to the Ukraine and Russia war. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said phone calls were another step forward.
Today, President Trump and Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky had a fantastic phone conversation. President Zelensky thanked President Trump for a productive start for the work of the Ukrainian and American teams in Jeddah on March 11th.
Trump spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky for about an hour today and said it was a very good call. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the call was focused on what he and Russian President Putin talked about yesterday so they could align both Ukraine and Russia in terms of what they're asking for. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
How you doing? This is Gary Garver. In today's society, the majority of people are not getting enough sleep. I know I'm not. If you're like me and having problems getting a good night's rest, whether it's health or stress related, I have a solution for you. South Pacific Sleep Lab. South Pacific Sleep Lab will do an evaluation of your sleep pattern and will provide a comprehensive study so you can start getting a restful, peaceful night of sleep. They take all types of insurance, which will cover your cost of the evaluation, and they will even provide transportation to their offices at no cost to you. For more information, contact Tony at 310-999-1887. That's 310-999-1887. Tony even stays awake all night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can sleep better and rest easy. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start feeling better and getting a great night of sleep today.
Did you know that 55% of working Americans would choose a lower-paying job to work under a leader who inspires their brilliance? In today's fast-paced world, resilience isn't just a trait, it's a superpower. If you're feeling overwhelmed by life's pace with hurry and worry, struggling to find a way, discover the secret with Simon T. Bailey's bestseller, Resilience at Work, How to Coach Yourself into a Thriving Future. Get your copy today on Amazon and unlock your full potential.
Our sponsor, Applied Earthworks, serves the Inland Valley in Southern California for over 24 years, specializing in cultural resource management and expert in archaeology, paleontology, architectural history, and historic preservation, making it possible to build for the future without sacrificing our cultural heritage. Learn more and see employment opportunities at AppliedEarthworks.com. Progress and preservation. Applied Earthworks supports our veterans.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Randy Corrigan and the Worker Power Hour back here live. Gotta love this music. That is definitely a flashback. KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. I am a longtime organizer, first-time radio host, and here we are again for another show. And that's Beastie Boys, right?
Run DMC.
Oh, Run DMC. My bad. You know what I did? I wrote Beastie Boys. Yeah, my bad.
Close
that's
enough.
Run. No, that's not close.
New York.
That's very Randy, bad. I should have a buzzer. See, you should have dumped that so that it wouldn't catch me live on the air.
I almost
say
got
Beastie Boys.
It's right there. I can't reach.
Right. This is Run DMC and you have Aerosmith. Yeah. I remember the video. Why I said Beastie Boys is beyond me. It's showing my age, I guess. Well, here we are back for another show. The recap of March 19th, the excuse me, for March 12th. It's obviously March 19th. My bad. I can't recap a date that we're already here. But look, Mark, are we going to be in the new studio next week?
I'm pushing real hard.
What do you mean pushing? It's a yes or no?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yeah.
We shall be there.
So we just got to get some connections to where they are able to switch over into our studio going forward, right?
We have the switch. We have everything we need. It's just we have John in there wiring it all up starting today.
John, our John, or John from the radio
John
station?
from the engineer.
The engineer. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, we're going to have to do a test run to make sure that it's working. I'm looking forward to being in our own studio. Not that I mind this. We did. I think everybody did a great job in this studio, but it's kind of cool to have your own studio. It's all the stuff's going to be
live
right
from Teamsters.
Our own studio for the Worker Power Hour. Anyway, last week's show we had a Teamster Advantage guest on. That guest was Sarah Beamer, and she was from the Glendora Longevity Lab. She talked about all the different cool services, health and wellness services in which they do, and please look them up and make sure you participate in that, especially if you live in the area. I would venture to say that they're potentially going to be having more of those labs and clinics closer to us out here in the Inland Empire. We also had Gretchen Newsom on from IBEW 9th District. She's a political coordinator, and she's from the IBEW, and talked about all the challenges in which they're currently facing right now, in addition to what she does as far as moving project labor agreements and legislative action and activity around supporting working people, making sure that working people have enough money in their pocket. If working people don't have enough money in their pocket, they can't use it to buy at the local businesses. And if we suck all the money out of the economy and local, the average person can't buy goods and services or purchase homes and purchase cars and do all those things that keep our economy rolling, then we'll end up dying on the vine there. And it's good to see that Gretchen is doing a great job of coordinating those efforts across the entire West with IBEW and other unions in the building trades. It was great to have her on. She had a really good amount of energy, and look forward to potentially having her on the show. And she ended up texting us afterwards, right, Robert, talking about she loved the platform and thought it was awesome to see a union actually having their own radio show and a steady following of listeners along with it. And then we also lastly had Robert Sandoval on from Teamsters Local 350 up in the Bay Area. He's the president of that local union, and he was talking about Teamster solidarity. And I really like the conversation around the waste industry, and it's a reminder for those people that you may think that the trash guy that's driving the truck, that's all that goes to the waste industry. But we had a little conversation talking about what happens when the trash gets to the to its destination, and it's at a transfer station or it's being sorted, and it's a really dangerous job. It's considered one of the most dangerous jobs in America. It's one of the highest injury jobs out there, and so we really have to appreciate the work that's done. Our society is built now where we turn on a spigot, water comes out, turn off the spigot, we flush a toilet, stuff goes away. We also put stuff in a bin, somebody comes and grabs our trash. We're a little spoiled compared to how things were many, 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 many years ago. And sometimes we just don't appreciate how hard those jobs are to make sure either water is delivered or extracted, and or how trash is taken away from your curb. A lot of people don't think about it once they've thrown it in their trash bin, but think about all those people out there that have to deal with it from the time it's picked up at the curb. It's got to be sorted, goes to the transfer station, and I just really enjoyed that conversation because it was a good reminder of how difficult those jobs are, and that local union represents a lot of workers in that industry. So thanks for coming on, Robert Sandoval. I know we also just recently recognized him in something our Hispanic Caucus did at the local union. So hopefully you're listening in live, Robert, and we'll get you to have your own radio show up there in the Bay Area, and we'll tie you in and get you a time slot right here. And we're also airing now Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. And so you get us at 11 o'clock. You get my show, typically a replay. And what I'm challenging Robert over here to do is when I have a guest at the last minute pop in that we could maybe jump in and bump the recorded version of a show on 11 o'clock, let's say in the middle of the week or a Monday or a Tuesday or whatever, that we can just do a quick live show. We got an hour there. We can bump the recorded version and actually do a live show. So it's going to give us some flexibility with a lot of our guests, so where we don't just do everything live on Wednesday. So I'm really looking forward to building out that platform too, plus getting more people listening to the station as a whole, because we have us at 11, and then we have the Rick Smith show, I think, at noon, right? Rick plays right after us. So we have a pretty good labor lineup happening Monday through Friday. I see Scott just poked his head in on the other side of the glass. I really appreciate you doing the live shout out for Shirley Temple last week. I saw it sitting there, and I just let it sit for a little while, and was wondering, do I go back to it? Do I say it? And then I said, all right, I'll let it fly. So he's laughing now, kind of jumping around. At least you're not eating a donut like Ralph was a couple weeks ago when we had the donut people on here, licking his fingers. You got something to say, Mark?
Ralph ate all the donuts.
I think he did eat all the donuts. And if you're listening, Mark, that's pretty bad, because there was a lot of tasty things in there we wanted to try. And that was Donut Town, right?
Yeah, Donut
that we
Town.
had a couple weeks ago here on the show.
Oh, he left half of one. You know how people...
Oh, he's trying to lose weight.
Half a donut?
That's what you do.
It's
You
like,
eat half a
take the
donut because
whole
you don't want.
donut.
No, you eat half the donut because you're trying to lose weight. You're trying to not be gluttonous, I guess.
Whatever.
So don't forget, we have the app at the KCAA app on the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. Make sure that you download. That's actually the easiest way to listen to us live. You just download that app. When you push the app and it opens up, it actually plays the live stream, the live feed, whatever is on the radio at that particular moment. So, and you don't have to deal with the FM band fading in and out, or the AM band fading in and out. But as a reminder, it is a live radio show, and this isn't a podcast that we can push pause, go back and record. We have to do this on the fly and actually do it right. And I'm definitely looking forward to our new studio next week. And you won't be able to just poke your head in. You're going to be making noises. You're coming in the way we got that new studio set up. So just as a reminder, anybody that comes into the new studio, if we're up and live next week, you got to be a little more quiet because of our setup. We don't have a wall in between. We just have glass, and so we're going to pick up more noise. So as you guys are storming into our studio, just think twice about all the listeners out there wondering what the heck's going on. You got something to say, Mark?
There could be repercussions for interruptions.
Yeah. Let the beatings begin, right? Let the beatings begin. So our 3 labor heroes or events always brought to us by Carlos Gonzalez. Really appreciate you, Carlos, for what you do in this space. You really help make my job easier in doing this radio show and bringing awareness to these really cool people, events, as well as jobs that we've been talking about for almost a year and a half now. And this again is Women's History Month, and while others may not want to pay attention to Women's History Month, we are going to, and we are actually going to celebrate a few women here that did some incredible things back in this would be starting back in about 1903, and that would be Rose Schneiderman. And she found employment in a department store before moving to the dangerous but more lucrative garment industry. And Schneiderman eventually went to work at a cap factory. It was there in 1903 that she co-organized Local 23 of the Jewish Socialist United Cloth Hat and Cap Makers Union. That's a mouthful. Ultimately leading a successful strike while still in her early 20s. This success led to her full-time union organizing, and in 1908, Schneiderman became New York Women's Trade Union League's first full-time organizer in the women's garment industry. In her role, Schneiderman worked closely with Clara Limich-Shavelson of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union during the 1909 garment workers strike in New York City, often referred to as the Uprising of 20,000. Her powerful speech about the importance of trade unions in the aftermath of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911 further cemented her role as an important voice in the labor movement. In addition to her trade union work, Schneiderman also used her considerable organizing skills towards the cause of women's suffrage. So shout out to you, Rose. Thank you for all the work you did back then. And imagine how difficult it was for her in that time frame, in that era. That's not a time in which women speaking up or minorities speaking up in that era was received well. And clearly her community supported her as she led massive strikes and uprisings to protect workers. The next one is the Rosina Carruthers. Is Rosina Carruthers, I'm sorry, not a civil rights and labor activist. Rosina Carruthers Tucker played a pivotal role in the creation of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters and its International Ladies Auxiliary Order. Her influence within these organizations challenged the limits often imposed on African American women who sought to lead movements for racial and economic justice in the early and mid-20th century. Tucker's experience with the BSCP led her to organize other groups of workers, including women in the laundry trades and domestic service industries. She was also a leader in the fight to integrate public spaces in Washington, D.C., and an advocate for the rights of children and the elderly. Rosina Carruthers, thank you for what you did. And again, this is a testament to all those great ladies from the last more than 100 years. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire on Saturday, March 25th of 1911, a fire broke out on the top floors of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Firefighters arrived at the scene, but their ladders weren't tall enough to reach the upper floors of the 10-story building. Trapped inside because the owners had locked the fire escape exit doors, workers jumped to their deaths. In a half an hour, the fire was over, and 146 of the 500 workers, mostly young women, had died. Many of us have read about the tragic Triangle Fire in our school textbooks, but the fire alone wasn't what made the shirtwaist makers such a focal point for worker safety. In fact, workplace deaths weren't uncommon then. It is estimated that more than 100 workers died every day on the job in about 1911. Imagine that. Imagine this, because there were no protections for workers unless you had a union contract. No protections. There was no law in the books to protect these hardworking people. The shirtwaist makers' story was so compelling because it brought attention to the events leading up to the fire. After the fire, their story inspired hundreds of activists across the state and the nation to push for fundamental reforms. For some, such as Frances Perkins, who stood helpless watching the factory burn, the tragedy inspired a lifetime of advocacy for workers' rights. She later became the Secretary of Labor under President Franklin D. Roosevelt. As a reminder, download the KCAA app and the Apple Google Play Store. Make sure you can listen to this live and you can hear these amazing, incredible stories. In today's day, we have a tendency to take for granted these incredible things that happen in these very challenging situations that people, essentially sacrifice their life to make it a little better for us as time goes on. So the next part of our show is I'll get to our Teamster Advantage partner here in a few minutes, is our live shout-outs. At the top of the list is some of our newest Teamsters in the Coachella Valley Water District, which is Josh Rakes and Robert Hughes, listening in live all the way out there in Coachella Valley, and Joe Mesa from the city of Coachella. We also have Oswaldo Mariquin and Shannon McLaren from the Chino Hills PD, and Diamond Oates from Sheriffs. Got a new applause. I see we got a new applause.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's good to have different ones. I like that.
I was getting tired of the other one.
Yeah. Huh.
Cold.
So, Gladys Ancilito from WIC Public Health, as well as Chuck Leekler from the Sheriff's Department Services. We also have Amy Shackelford from DOS, Shayna Saders from TAD, Lonnie Garcia from TAD, Sophia Meza from Chino, and then we have Sandra Reyes Hernandez from the Assessor's Office. We always love the Assessor's Office. I know that if you're on the homeowner side, you don't like the Assessor's Office, but the Assessor's Office is what generates revenue to make sure that the tax dollars are coming in to pay for all the services in the particular area. Anyway, so thank you, Sandra, for what you do in the Assessor's Office. Alejandro Ariando, Georgina Martinez, Patricia Moran, Cassandra Bishop, Tina Avalos Morgan, all in Redlands TAD, And we also have Sandy Cabrera from ARMC, Jeremy Lopez, Aldair Fuentes. We also have from ARMC Clinical, there we go, I had a little bubble in the screen there. From the ARMC Clinical Informatics Department, and yes, I did pronounce that correctly this time, I hope. Markeisha Waller from ARMC Epic. We have Mierda Cordova and Lorraine Robinson from TAD. We also have Jenny Hernandez from Public Health, Bawu Lee from ARMC, Kathy Bernal all the way out in Needles. We also have Michelle from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Needles Department. Her name is Michelle Advocate. Sorry that I missed that last piece. Lori McMillan Ryan, Johnny Montesino, and Margarita Gonzalez, all from the DA's office. And to all our members that participated in today's... Oh, actually, I think I'm reading from last week, aren't I? Did this happen to jump in? Oh, yep, that's last week. So maybe all these people aren't listening live. My bad. See, you're supposed to help me here. You guys are supposed to help me here. I got it. That's it. I already read them. I know, but I was reading this over here because this jumped in on my screen. See, this is what you got to love about live radio. You can't go back and push rewind.
What was the producer doing at this time?
He was sitting over there playing on his phone.
Good job,
Thanks, Robert. Anyway, we also have from Lori from CFS and from Chino Valley Fire District. We have Jason, Marcel, Sandy. From Fontana, we have Brent, Andrea, Andrew, Daniel, Lauren, Joanna, Vanessa. From Rialto, we have Kim, Terry, and Freddie. We also have from the OAs, we have all the OAs at TAD 01, and we also have Charmaine Cole, the Register of Voters, Markeisha, I actually read her already, Lisa Vasquez, Kawana McDonald from ARMC, and we have Sarah Kastner from Confire, a call taker, new group, Kurt Garrison, Susan Loftus, Connie Bottini, and we also have shout out to Jacqueline Elizalde, former 1932 member and field rep for Congresswoman Norma Torres. We also, Michelle, advocate of the San Bernardino CSO Needle. She's got 20 years today. It's her anniversary. So shout out to you. Sorry for taking so long. I actually repeated some of you from the 12th. Not sure how I messed that up on the screen, but my bad. This is where my rookie status comes in. And so now I'm going to switch over to our Teamster Advantage partners. And our Teamster Advantage program comprised of more than 1,000 small businesses in the area. We're in nearly 30 chambers of commerce in the region, and what we do is we advocate for small business, and we ask that the local community. We also have Beatrice Aguilar. She is listening in live as my phone is blowing up here, and I also have I have Ralph texting here making comments over the donuts, by the way, first, and then he's got something else here I got to cover in a minute.
He's out in the middle of nowhere. What's he going to do?
Yeah, he's driving. He's listening while he's driving.
Oh,
out in the
finally
middle of the
listening
desert.
in. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ralph. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyway, small business owner, we absolutely love our Teamster Advantage partners, and we love the small business community, and we want to make sure that all of our members are participating in it, and obviously they're benefiting from those discounts. It's one of our favorite programs that we have because our members get to see what's on the app. If they want to, in this case, we have a gym. They want to join a gym, or they want to go eat somewhere, and hopefully they eat somewhere, then go to the gym, or they're staying healthy while maybe not eating too much. Whatever it is that they're doing, they're integrating with all these small businesses that we have. And today we have some gentlemen here from LA Fitness here locally, and we have Martivius Adkins. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Why don't you introduce yourself and talk about all the cool stuff that you guys do for our members when they come in?
How you guys doing? First, we want to say thank you for having us on. We greatly appreciate that. My name is Martavius. I'm general manager at Redlands, the Redlands LA Fitness. What we do is we change lives. So we change people's lives. We get them healthy. We get them with a.
Can you change this one?
Yeah, you got to come in, man. You got to come in.
No, I want to pay, but I want it to just happen.
well, look. You guys come in, and then that's how it starts. Sometimes the first step is the hardest step. So
very true.
So once you get past that first step, then we get you going. But we have so many different amenities in our club, okay? So starting with racquetball, we have the racquetball courts. We have 5 different racquetball courts. We have treadmills for cardio, bikes, ellipticals, stair climbers, the Stairmasters. We have a full basketball court. So we have different classes as well that come with the membership, okay? So we have Zumba, we have the Bodyworks Plus, cycling, aquafit classes. We also have punching bags. So we have private one-on-one personal training. I'm going to introduce you to Miguel. He's our personal trainer director. Miguel, let him know.
Yes. Do you have any questions for us?
Not yet. I will shortly. I just want you to enter in your name.
Miguel. So personal training director.
Got to talk into the mic
definitely.
there. You
so
go.
personal training director, how are you guys doing? Yeah, like I said, any questions for me or?
Yeah, what's the discount for our members?
So it ranges. So we have single club rates. Okay, so sometimes people just in that area, they're not going to be going to any other clubs. And then we have the multi-clubs. So our Easy Start program is anywhere like $49.99 a month. And it gives you multi-clubs. So the good thing about that is our sister gym is called Esporta. So you have access to both gyms. You have access to LA Fitness and Esporta multi-club in and out of the state. So for $49.99 a month. And not only that, it gives you a guest too as well. So that's our Easy Start program.
So do you have any funny stories? I always ask guests in this space if they got any funny stories. And I'm telling you, we hear some crazy stuff. We hear some crazy stuff. There's got to be some funny stuff at a gym.
Miguel, you got any
I used to work at Gold's Gym, believe it or not.
I used to work at Gold's Gym.
When I was a teenager, I worked at Gold's Gym.
Okay.
I was actually the janitor. I cleaned it when I was 15, 16, 17. In the middle of the night, I would clean the gym.
So what's a funny story?
What happened?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Man, people are messy.
People are messy.
Right.
Yeah, it's a gym. It could get a little messy.
Yeah, in the gym, it could be
messy.
messy. Right. So do you guys have any funny stories of anybody like bench pressing too much and maybe, letting loose a little hard? Nothing like that?
No. See, at LA Fitness, we like to keep it real clean.
Okay.
So you don't see too much of that at LA Fitness now.
You don't have anybody running on the treadmill and miss their step and
Nah.
It don't happen. That's just on the shows.
None of that. At the worst, you might get 2 guys, testosterone levels going a little high, or pre-workout kicking in a little bit too much. A little bit of that. But nothing.
What's that?
Too
Listen, do they fight or?
Yeah, they get into it a little bit, or
what would make you get in a fight at a gym?
Somebody could be using the equipment and on the phone, or not really move.
Gotcha.
Things like that. But other than that, not really too much. We like to keep it, nice environment.
I don't like how you did that curl.
We keep it real nice at LA Fitness. So.
Well, good.
For sure.
Good. Anything else you want to share? I see, obviously, you got Pilates.
Yeah,
you got all
so,
kinds of free passes.
So, the Reformer Pilates class is coming soon to LA Fitness.
That's tough. Pilates
is one of the big things.
That is a full body workout. Pilates.
Yeah, and we offer that at discounted rates right now. So you just got to come in. Our low impact Pilates classes offer like a healthy experience for all skill levels, focusing on core strength, muscle tone, mobility, things like that. So, let's just build healthy habits together. You got to come in. So, with the Teamsters, we do have discounts for you guys too as well. You guys just come in, just say you're from the Teamsters club, and then we give you guys all the discounted rates that we have too as well. So with the Pilates too, that's going to be in April. That's going to be coming at the Redlands location in April.
So that's
Pilates.
new.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pilates is new.
Just ask our members about the rates, and then we get you guys started. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Well, what do you got, Mark? You got any questions for these guys?
Yeah. How do I get rid of all this right here?
Well, he said it earlier. You got to get in there.
I am in there.
You got to do something.
Start by cutting the donuts out.
That. Well, I only ate half of one. Ralph ate the other half.
Yeah, we give you guys off 2 weeks for free.
Do you guys have a statistic on how many people pay dues for the gym but never come in? I'm just curious because that number's got to be pretty high.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you a number on that, but sometimes people the first couple of weeks and then things change. You know what I mean?
Disappear.
People, but
I'm
that's
guilty
the thing
of
about
it.
being consistent.
Yeah, we're all guilty.
That's where you start to see the results when you're consistent. You're coming in, and you're at least getting 3 to 4 days out of the week, and then you set.
And
that
it's
time
so
apart.
good for us too.
Right, absolutely.
It's it's so good for us to exercise, and we just in today's
Just an hour,
society,
that's it.
we come up with all these reasons why we can't do it. And it's true, we are busy. We got all this stuff going on, but we really should make more time for it.
Yeah, and so with the membership too as well, you get an hour with the fitness expert just to kind of help you guys get started. Because sometimes people
An hour every day.
No, well, just to help you get started, just that
I'm
hour.
just
We
kidding.
show you about the equipment, or sometimes people don't know. Like, how many workouts do you know? just with the spoon,
no,
huh?
I'm just kidding. There's you got your cardio, and you got your you run on the treadmill, you do your elliptical, and you get started, and then maybe you lift a
Where are
little
you
bit of
working out
weights.
at? Where are you working out at?
I am not working out anywhere.
Okay,
I mean,
we
the only
gotta
place
get
I'm
you
working
down.
out is the kitchen table.
Look, we gotta get all you guys down there, okay? ASAP.
Right.
Okay, ASAP. We gotta get you down there.
Do I look like I'm working out?
That's what I'm saying. We gotta get you going.
Right.
You don't know.
Are you saying I don't look like I work
No,
out?
I'm saying
I gotta
sometimes
suck
it's
it in here a
mental.
little?
Sometimes it's mental. Okay, you know what I mean. So follow us on Instagram. Anybody that follows us on Instagram, you and a friend, we'll give you guys 2 weeks for free. Just follow us on Instagram. We'll see. So just come on down, man. Get you guys started.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for talking about the discounts and the advantage of being a Teamster and what our members can enjoy as a result of that. As you know, we've got more than 30,000 families in the area in which are connected to our network. And, Mark, let's take a real quick commercial break so that we can transition over to the next part of the show. But unless you guys have something more you want to say, or
No, just,
another funny story, or you want to tell me I got to go work out again.
Hey, you got to go work out. We got to get you going. LA Fitness
I bring people on my
Redlands.
show and they insult me. Did you hear this? You guys hear all this?
Nah, we love you guys. We love you guys.
Great.
LA Fitness
You know what we got to do
Redlands.
is we got to bring on the donut guy back and have him on the show at the same time with the gym.
Debate.
Miguel will get you guys trained, get you guys going. Okay.
Miguel's the guy. We'll make sure we look for him when we go in.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Marcavius and Miguel, thanks for coming in. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
talking
guys.
about
Thank
what
you.
you guys
Appreciate
got
it.
going on. And with that, it's Randy Corgan on the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. It's a 1932, excuse me, Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host. Taking a quick break. All right, Randy Corgan back on the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. You heard that live, not a podcast. It turns into a podcast. I got Scott over here on the other side of this glass, and he's, for once he's quiet. He's normally not quiet, and he's usually loud on top of it. And he really likes to exaggerate. He's a good storyteller. One of these times I'll have to get him on the show and let him entertain all of you guys.
I see an empty mic and chair.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
No,
Oh,
he's
what's
not
the matter?
prepared.
Scott's getting red.
Look at him.
What's
Yeah,
going
he's
on
not
over here?
prepared. He's not prepared. Anyway, so I figured I'd call him out for hanging out in the. We were trying to get your boss on the show today too, but he's tied up in negotiations or something like that. That's okay. He's always welcome. Brother Kamek's always welcome. I'll bump a guest, or we'll squeeze him in and let him obviously jump into the conversation. In Teamsters 1932 news, we have negotiations coming up for a number of our locations, our entities, agencies, cities. Starting with Barstow, we also have Bear Valley Hospital. We also have Chino, the city of Chino. I think they actually just did an action yesterday. You may have saw that on our feed. We also have the city of Needles starting bargaining here pretty soon, and Rancho Cucamonga, Rialto, San Bernardino City, and we also have San Bernardino County schools that are all about ready to ramp up and start bargaining. Interesting times to bargain contracts right now. We are definitely looking forward to the challenge and working through it. But this is where you get involved and you pay attention. And if everybody just kind of sits back and allows everybody else to control your destiny, well, don't complain if you don't like the outcome. Because if you didn't get involved and you didn't participate, then you allowed everybody else to decide it. And quite frankly, your complaint over the outcome, loses a little bit of validity because you didn't engage. And so all of those agencies are currently getting ready or currently engaged already in the first steps of bargaining. And it's really important that any of you that work, matter of fact, many of you I read off, you're actually listening in live right now regarding that. And so we also have the car show on April 12th coming up. Our annual car show is massive. It's amazing, and it's big, and it'd probably be even bigger this year. I think every year it grows exponentially, and we get more and more cars that enter the show in addition to more and more attendees. And, last year it was cool. We had the DJ and the stage right there on the corner of 4th and Sierra Way, where music and announcements and everything is going on. And we don't allow a bunch of elected officials to get up on the mic and try to make announcements. They all want to. They're like, oh, we want to give you something, and we want to recognize, that you're, give you a proclamation or this or that. And we're constantly bumping them saying, no, this is a day for everybody to hang out and have a good time. And we don't want you going up there doing a political speech. And, every now and then we'll have somebody say something if it's significant for the moment. But we really want people to come and enjoy the live music or the DJ. And then there's a band, 2 bands actually. There's a band over on the inside the courtyard, close to the beer garden. The beer garden happens to be really close to the kiddie area, to where if you're hanging out in the beer garden, you can keep an eye on the kiddie area. That seemed to be a popular space last year for the first time. We actually had those separated before, and now they're together. So if you were at any of the previous car shows, you know how fun they are, and you know that this one coming up is going to be pretty amazing too. And so next Friday, we actually have an event at Hangar 24, where it's going to be Teamster Night at Hangar 24. That is from 7:30 to 11:30, and there's drink discounts and prize giveaways and a 50-50 drawing. So looks like a good time. We'll have Stevie E. Is that the Stevie E that we knew growing up that's singing? You're not sure, Mark? Do you remember Stevie E? I don't know if this is a cover of somebody who is a band or something like that.
Stevie B?
No, Stevie E. Anyway, so I know that they always throw a good event there, and looking forward to our members participating in that. I think we participated in. We have a lot of members that are going and hanging out at that. In addition to other things we might have coming up in the future, so let me know if you've got some stuff happening or events happening that you want us to lay out or talk about. And so in worker power news, we need to go to you there, Mark? Yeah. Everything good?
Oh, we're good.
All right.
What happened?
I don't know.
What broke?
Nothing broke.
Did you break something?
No. My nose is running, so.
Oh, do you want to break?
No.
I got
good.
plenty of music. I got a really cool song for Robert, too.
Right. So, there's a lot of stuff going on at the national level that we're trying to find good, positive news to report on. And we're having a hard time because there is a lot of things that are happening. You actually have the Federal Workforce Freedom Act that's just been introduced. A bill has been introduced to prohibit federal employees from organizing or joining labor unions. or collectively bargaining. So the same thing that happened in Utah is now being introduced at the federal level. And what's dangerous about this is, where does it stop? You see a lot of public entities right now, and many of you may be listening and you're in the private sector, and you think, yeah, you got to gut all those public employees. They're overpaid and this and that. That's maybe what you're thinking in the private sector. Well, that's not true, number one. And number two, it's anytime a worker is attacked in America, we have to pay attention to that. And so what we have going on, the bill sponsors are Mike Lee from Utah, Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, and they argue that these kinds of collective bargaining agreements actually harm worker efficiency and increase labor costs. I will agree they increase labor costs. I agree 100% with the proponents of something like this, that they increase labor costs. The idea is to pay people money so that they spend money in their local economy and people make a decent wage and have great benefits when they provide great services for their community. Either they're on a national level, a local level, or on a state level. And so really need to pay attention to the Federal Workforce Freedom Act and make sure that you call your congressman or your senator or anybody that you will listen to you, quite frankly, that's in a leadership role, an elected role, and make sure that what happened in Utah doesn't happen again. We also had an executive order from the administration that cut contract wage rates, that eliminated the $15 minimum wage for contractor wage rates for infrastructure projects. And the Trump scrapped the Biden-era executive orders that raised the minimum wage for federal contractors to $15 and drove federal infrastructure investments towards companies that agree to union neutrality. So you got to think about this. Why was something, a policy in which rewarded organizations that would be friendly to unions, and most importantly, make sure they paid a minimum of $15 an hour? Why would we want to eliminate a $15 minimum wage in an industry, let's say infrastructure projects, which is construction? Why would we want to pay people less than $15 an hour in that? Why would we want to pay people less than $15 an hour anyway, no matter what? But so let's talk about construction. When I was a teenager, I had to work in construction, and I was what you called a block tender. It's a tough job. It's hard work, handling concrete and rebar and blocks and working with your hands and you're walking, you're mixing mud and you're doing all this stuff. Like, this is, even if you're just a laborer, you're starting off at the first level, to take a position that you're not going to get at least $15 an hour. Like, where does that work? How is there any justification to it? And then also wiping away the order that essentially rewards companies that agree to union neutrality. That is something that we're trying to be on top of all the time, and we want policy that encourages neutrality with unions, not fights. Because if we create an environment where there's always an antagonist relationship with unions and workers, then there's always labor disputes, and there's a race to the bottom when it comes to wages, and people are slashing their salaries or slashing how much they make or benefits or whatever it may be when corporations decide to try to get greedy. So it's important for us to pay attention to these things and try to activate around them and make sure that we don't fall into a trap where we just kind of allow this to skate by us and not pay attention to its impact. I know, it's the news right now is dominated with a lot of this, and I guess it depends on what news channel you're looking at. I think that's one of the very concerning parts of America, and if anybody would pay attention to the elimination of the media doctrine, which I think is the downfall of much of our communication today in the news, is that there's a way to manipulate now what people see or what people think is news or what people are receiving as news. And because the media doctrine was eliminated, you really don't have a space. It's a very limited space to go to for you to actually get a neutral perspective on what the news is. Everything has got a slant based on whoever's perspective it is. And so this is a dangerous time. And, people may believe that the things that I say are slanted. They are. I'll tell you straight up, they're always slanted for the worker. I believe that that's the right space to be slanted for, regardless of it being a Democrat issue or Republican or independent or a partisan issue that everybody kicks back and forth. I'm going to be definitely a advocate for working people and try to occupy space on a regular basis where I'm pushing an agenda that helps working people. And I believe it's the right space to be because, over 80% of people in America are working every day. So, we're in the masses. Everybody, for the most part, is going to work every day, earning trying to earn a decent wage and provide for their family. And so, sorry for being biased for the worker. I guess I'm guilty for being biased for the worker. And I'm disappointed that this back and forth, anger-filled rants of one another has turned into many people tuning out the fact that workers' rights are being attacked right now, right in front of us, with Utah completely stripping away public employees' right to bargain. And, maybe what's going to happen is that people in the private sector say that it doesn't affect them. And that somehow, I don't have anything to worry about. I want you to fire all those people that provide all these very important services that if somebody wants to get on my show and have a conversation with me and convince me that all these people being fired are a waste of tax dollars, then I'd very much encourage that discussion in a positive way and try to prove to me that that's the case. However, if you believe in the private sector that you want to see people in the public sector lose their jobs. Well, imagine if it reaches so far that your 911 operator doesn't answer the phone when you dial 911, because that's a public employee that's answering 911. And most people don't realize the services that they're receiving in the private sector from the public sector, how important they are until the emergency is actually happening. And then many times people are receiving benefits and they're part of that infrastructure, and they're criticizing it, not realizing that that's the actual services in which you need to exist. And I'll give you an example. The easiest example is every single day you turn on your water in your sink or you jump in the shower. And, man, public employees are making sure that water gets from either the sky or however it gets into a particular place for it to be pulled, a well, a lake, out of a pipe, and then work it through the system till ultimately gets to your house. And then you shower in it, it goes down the sink, and it goes away. So, it's important for us to really try to pay attention to this and make sure that even if we're in the private sector, that we support what's going on with public sector workers and public employees, because public employees actually make sure that the community is protected every single day. Many times our children are at risk, or many of the challenging situations that in our community children face are protected by public services and services in the public space when it comes to making sure that children get an education, number one. Number two, that children that are in difficult situations, sometimes in foster care or in abusive situations, not only are the police called in to take care of which are public servants, but then those individuals to take care of those children are all public employees. So there's all these different spaces that it's easy to just kind of wipe away and say, yeah, gut it, get rid of it. They're not doing their job. Well, have we really examined that? Or we just say, cut off at 20% and whatever is outside of that, we'll deal with it. That's, in my opinion, not the right way to handle it. So hopefully people, the American population connect to this and pay attention. And so on that note, I think it's really important to give acknowledgement to the two sheriff's department deputies that were in an accident here recently. And it's really important for us to, make sure that, they're in our thoughts and prayers, because I believe so. One of the deputies has passed away. Is that correct? Yeah, and so that is Hector Cuevas Jr., right? And so our condolences go out to that family. Again, a public employee trying to protect the community in the line of duty was killed in an accident, and I believe that the other officer is also in the hospital right now. And I think that in these moments, we really have to examine where we're at, especially when you see, budgets being cut and all that if it wasn't for public employees like this or a sheriff's deputy that is trying to protect our community, we would, we'd be in a pretty chaotic civilization or, I would say community. It'd be very chaotic. So our thoughts and prayers and our condolences go out, and many of our members throughout dispatch, the dispatch stations, the crime lab, and the crime analysis knew him and worked with him and knew him well, and want to wish the family their best and are here to support them in any way we can. So sorry to give you some bad news in that space, but I think it's appropriate to give that recognition, and our thoughts and prayers will absolutely go to the other deputy, and hopefully there is a path to recovery, and that will continue to move in the right direction for him as an individual. So, these hardworking people, these hardworking public employees, every single day are making sure that life is grand for us. And so going back to the news in a little bit, I'm going to preface some of what we're going to talk about at the next hour. On the next side of the hour, I'm going to have James Estrada on from the city of Redlands. He's anxiously waiting to jump in the seat and talk because he's pretty good at it. Isn't that right? He's giggling over here behind me. One of the things that we're going to talk about is not only his job and how important his job is, but how important the I'm In campaign is that we have out there. And I have a survey out there. I'm going to go through some of those questions at the other side of the hour, and I'm going to talk about why we're asking those questions and why we want people to answer those questions, because we want to make sure everybody understands the impact of what's happening right now. Many people listening to this were part of the recession in 2010, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And many people that work for San Bernardino County or many of the cities in the area took enormous pay cuts or benefit eliminations to deal with that cutback. And the similarities in what we see happening right now, although it's not an economic meltdown, it's a administration that is taking a chainsaw, literally, in figuratively, to the budgets of a lot of public employees, and these workers are all losing their jobs right now, and that is a trickle-down effect that will continue to trickle down from one institution, an organization, to another, to another, to another, to another. And if the same energy is put into, let's just use, the city of Fontana or San Bernardino County, or many of you listening in this area, if that same energy is put into your employer, as you see happening to these other workers right now, then you are going to see something very similar to what happened in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14, when it came to how your contracts were impacted or your bargaining was impacted. And hopefully there is not a law that is going to be propped up like this other one I just talked about, where federal employees, the position is going to ban federal employees to have collective bargaining. Then the next one is that all public employees can't have bargaining, because it's not a stretch to say that's the next step. What, they're just going to go after the federal employees for some reason? Why? I've heard some of the justifications for this and why it's okay, and quite frankly, I'm disturbed by actually what some of the members have said at thinking that it's okay. And if you think it's okay, well, when it affects your job, I actually heard a story the other day, not a story, but I was connected somebody I bumped into yesterday that a family member whom was not my family member, the person I bumped into, their family member was gloating about, oh, it's not going to affect me, da-da-da-da, and thought it was funny. And I happen to know these people, by the way. And the person thought it was funny, the son thought it was funny that these people were being negatively impacted. And guess what? A day later, they found out that their contract was going to get cut, literally the next day. And so the father, who is a big union, supporter and recognized, that you're wrong in what you're doing, had to immediately say, see, now it's going to affect you. These are the things that are happening to people right now. And what I hope, I know I got a couple minutes here left, and as I get into this discussion on the other side of the hour, in the other hour, is that I hope that people aren't in a space that I don't care until it hits me, because that is not very communal. We are a communal society and a communal race of people, and we need to care for one another, and we need to make sure that each other is safe. Otherwise, if it's all just about us, and I'm not going to care about anybody unless it hits me, we're in big trouble. I don't think we're there. I hope we're not. But I've been hearing more of this than makes me comfortable as a leader within, the area and within what we do. And I'm just reminding you that this is a conversation you need to start having with people around you. What is this? We're now in a space where we don't care what happens to the person next to us. As long as I'm not affected, I'm okay. That selfishness will collapse on all of us around us. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it when we, again, get on the other side of the break. But with that, this is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host. You'll be hearing from me in a few minutes on the other side of the break. Take it away, Mark.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. President Trump says they're very much on track to putting an end to the Ukraine-Russia war. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said they will work with Ukraine.
Ukraine and America will continue working together to bring about a real end to the war, and that lasting peace under President Trump's leadership can be achieved.
Trump spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky for about an hour today and said it was a very good call. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the call was focused on what he and Russian President Putin talked about yesterday so they could align both Ukraine and Russia in terms of what they're asking for. Putin and Trump agreed to a limited ceasefire yesterday, which included halting attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Wall Street is closing with stocks higher. This comes after the Federal Reserve decided to leave interest rates unchanged. The Fed forecasts that 2 rate cuts are coming later this year. At the closing bell, the Dow gained 383 points, the S&P was up by 60, and the Nasdaq gained 246 points. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000 member strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Motorists, this spring, be safe, don't text and drive. Our sponsor, Temecula Accurate Auto Care, is family-owned, serving the area for over a decade with quality and pride. Your full-service auto repair shop. Whether it's brake jobs, tune-ups, engine work, and more, stop by 28127 Jefferson Avenue or call 951-506-AUTO. That's 951-506-2886. Mention this ad and receive 50% off your next oil change. Temecula Accurate Auto Care, reminding us to never text and drive.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau de Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can be truly miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
This important time-sensitive message is brought to you by this station's generous sponsor, George Litchfield Associates, who has important Medicare information for all current and future Medicare recipients about some big changes happening. Medicare Clarified. Medicare is a non-profit consumer service organization.
It's more important than ever to review your Medicare plan for 2025 from October 15th through December 7th. To find out if you're in the right plan for you, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005. A popular and local Medicare plan is improving. Others are raising copays and adding deductibles. Biggest changes in the Medicare drug program in 15 years.
We thank George Litchfield and Litchfield Insurance for their generous support of this radio station.
For KCAA 1050 AM NBC News Radio and Express 106.5 FM. A young San Bernardino motorist driving a stolen vehicle is expected to face several felony charges for instigating a police chase through Victorville that ultimately cost the sheriff's deputy his life. Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr. was in pursuit when he was involved in a collision with another vehicle. Cuevas served the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department for 6 years. Ryan Dwayne Turner Jr., 22 of San Bernardino, attempted to flee the scene but was captured. Sheriff Shannon Dykes stated Turner had a prior record for evading police in Rialto, where he allegedly caused another officer-involved collision. The 108th National Orange Show Fair is coming to San Bernardino, April 16th through the 20th. It's fun for all and all for fun. This year's fair will include pig races, reptiles, face painting, rides, and of course that delicious fair food. Information at nationalorangeshow.com. On Thursday, April 17th, the National Orange Show Fair will host a military appreciation dinner to honor the servicemen and women for all their sacrifices and invite veterans and active military to be part of this special free program, dinner and entertainment, recognition awards, and more. Those wishing to attend may bring one guest and must RSVP by March 28th at nationalorangeshow.com, 909-888-6788 to make your reservations. Weather in the Inland Empire, sunny with a high of 76 and lows in the mid-40s. Cooling a bit on Thursday, but still a sunny forecast for the next couple of days. For NBC News Radio KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM, I'm Lillian Vasquez, and you're up to date.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary-Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Don't think, stink, pink gators. My Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, and I Papa been smooth since
I want to start breakdancing.
Never lose, never choose to.
You could always do the worm live.
Right. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Not podcasting, by the way. And don't forget to download the KCAA app on your Apple Play Store or Apple Store or your Google Play Store, whatever they call it. I don't have the Droid. I have an Apple, so, I know which one it is on that side. You know where to get your app. Get the app, KCAA, and all you have to do is push the darn button, and literally the live stream plays, and it's streaming for you. So I'd love to see those numbers continue to increase of the listeners, and it just makes it actually partially an easier listening too. And so we're joined by James Estrada, who is the super duper chief steward at Redlands.
So they say.
So they say.
So they say.
Yeah, you got to talk into that mic.
I got it. You got it.
And he's also on our advisory board here at the local union, and he is a rock star in the city of Redlands, and all the local businesses love him. And he also manages a Facebook and social media and Instagram and all this stuff for Redlands, and all these people follow you and love all the cool stuff that you do. So, James, take it away for a minute. Why don't you tell everybody what you do in case nobody knows that you love to work in the water industry?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Again, just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to be back on here. Always enjoy being able to talk about what's going on in the workplace. Yeah, so like Randy said, Chief Steward for the City of Redlands, been doing it for the last couple of years, been a Teamster member for, since 2015. But yeah, we're busy in Redlands. Right now, what's going on in Redlands is a lot of talk amongst our members. We got about 250 plus members. And what's happening with what's going on is the conversation is talking about contract negotiations coming up. So that's kind of right now. Everyone's
already?
It's we're getting ready.
Didn't we just do this dance?
Exactly. It's like deja vu all over again. It's going to be interesting this year. I think our members got a real good taste of negotiations last year, and so they're
last
itching.
time. Not
yeah,
last
yeah.
year.
Excuse me. From just a couple of years back. Absolutely. So
Has it been a couple of years
already? Can you believe it? I can't.
Yeah,
the
time just flies.
It's
the deal?
incredible. So, in addition to that,
So I was 2 years younger when that happened.
Oh, I was 2 inches shorter when that happened, actually, if I think about it. But yes, essentially, yes, absolutely. So, yeah, that's what the big talk is, negotiations coming up, and something interesting in the city of Redlands. It's been like 20 plus years since the city's actually done and correct me if I say this wrong, class and
study.
Yeah, class and comp study, and class study. Yeah, so a lot of conversations going on about that. A lot of educational components as stewards that we need to do with our members. doesn't mean automatically everyone's going to get a raise and so forth. There's a lot of variables that are tied into that. So, just a lot of things.
Well, if we're up to some people, you just get a pay cut. So
absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
So what do you do? You're
wastewater.
You have a pretty cool job.
Yeah, wastewater. So the title is
waste. And you were here last week when we had the kids here.
That was fantastic.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was one of the best events I've been to in terms of a career day. Absolutely. So having that opportunity. So real quick, as a wastewater collection system worker, collection meaning we collect the waste in the sewer system. Not
you
that
make
we
a dirty job sound so clean.
Oh, good, because they say when we're watching our inspection videos, they say we're technically watching dirty movies. So yes, it is a clean job though. So that's always a good laugh. But we're just really busy hammering away, doing a lot of public education. I heard you talking earlier about. About when you turn on your faucet and you flush your toilet, those things just don't
magic.
Apparently they are to most people. Correct. But there's always a method behind that magic, right? And so that's where my crew and I come in. Absolutely.
And it was funny. You guys had the big machine out here. I call it the big pooper scooper.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's been called worse, so that's good. We'll take pooper scooper.
It's this huge crane-looking thing that's got this big pump on it, and
it's
got
gnarly.
like a 6 or 8 inch or maybe 12-inch pipe.
It's massive, and what's crazy about that, and so there's several
those are
names,
big
right?
turds it's pulling.
They
out,
are.
man.
It's a combination sewer truck, and it's crazy because when I visit Mexico, when I see a truck like that, I just point it out. My whole family knows when they see a truck. I don't know. You see them a mile away. They're huge. They're like big like a fire truck.
You can't miss them.
Can't miss them. Yeah.
It's funny. In the last more than decade now that I've been representing the industry more, it sticks out to me too. I'm like, oh, that's a
the sewer truck, whatever vehicle it is. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that job's happening. You know what I mean? Just like you were talking earlier. In addition to that, because we do focus on that truck because it's big, shiny, and exciting. But a really cool element about what we do is we have a box camera van and we stick it. And I wasn't able to bring it here in Career Day, but we stick a camera in the sewer line, and it's like an RC controller. We use a PlayStation controller. It's a modular office in there, mobile office in there, and we inspect sewer. And that's what I was referring to. We're seeing dirty, videos all day because we're watching sewer videos all day, and that's a really interesting element. So no one knows.
So when
that's
somebody
happening.
claims that you public employees are getting paid to watch dirty videos all day, it's true.
It's true. Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah.
Not the dirty thing that they're
correct
insinuating, but
yeah. It's everyone contributing to those videos as they're flushing waste down the toilet.
Right.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. So
right.
yeah, it gets interesting. It gets really interesting. There's always, we're almost going there, but there's always a lot of jokes to be played on, working in sewers. So maybe some not on air.
Hey, is that a Vactor truck?
Yes. Yeah. Vactor truck.
I used to have a neighbor. He built them.
Wow. Okay.
It's somewhere towards like Glendora or
correct.
Santa Fe Springs.
So yeah. So there's one.
There's a big difference between Glendora and Santa Fe Springs.
Going west.
By the way.
There
west.
But just for
can't figure out if it's a 10 or the 210.
Just for a correction, in case our vendor Plumbers Depot is listening to us, it is actually a gap vacs that we operate. It's so commonly known as a Vactor, but in reality they're called combination trucks. And so we actually have a gap vac truck, but more commonly known as Vactor. But gap vacs is a brand that's coming out. So we have same. They essentially.
So they build them for all over the country, or they just
all
build
over
them?
the country? Yeah, and ours came from Pennsylvania. And then, you got to put them in almost a year and a half in advance now. They're getting backed up. And that all started during the whole COVID thing, too. So.
What, people were using the sewer more because of COVID? Or
no, just back the trucks, all the.
Oh, it slowed up the production.
Correct, slowed down the production.
Oh, that makes sense. My bad. I was thinking the other way. Like, I don't know. I don't get this.
They were home more. No, they're using the toilet more of anything.
Which production are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. What production are you talking about? Yeah. So, yeah, it's an exciting job, and a lot of it's customer base, and that always gives us that opportunity to tell that customer, make that connection, who we are, what we're doing, and we always. There's always a real connection when that conversation is what's important.
You still doing your small business Tuesdays or whatever it is?
Yeah, we've been getting busy, so we don't do it as often, but we're definitely making sure we're promoting. Sometimes
who was the last one you did it with?
I think the last one we did it with was probably Uncle Howie's, and it just fits a lot of people in there. But we'll also break in small groups, so. We're thinking we're already picking one, I think, for tomorrow. So I'm not too sure. So we all go back.
You're
and
waiting
forth.
until the last minute and shotgun it, huh?
Yeah, sometimes we just got to because we got to try and get everyone's lunchtime together. We like to try and go in big groups if we can and really show some love to those small businesses.
Yeah, I went by Slow Bloom actually yesterday.
Oh, did you?
And it was
Yeah.
packed.
It's insane. That place is
I couldn't find
always
parking.
packed.
I had to park up in the neighborhood and walk over.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Every time I go in there, it's packed. It's super friendly, and I love going. It's a really good positive vibe. It's a really good vibe at Slow Bloom.
Yeah,
it's not your average coffee shop.
We had left the doctor's office and was like, let's go grab a cup of coffee instead of going to Starbucks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Went over to Slow Bloom.
Yeah, Slow Bloom. So Slow Bloom is like, I would refer to it as like a focal point for some community members. There's a lot of gatherings going on there. I've been there myself for a lot of gatherings in terms of local elections and so forth. So Slow
Did you listen to the show that they were on?
I haven't heard that one yet.
Well,
I know.
what's wrong
I'm
with
behind.
you, man?
You should not have asked me that right now on air.
No, I did it on purpose
I know
because
you
I
did,
think.
so now I
what
gotta
is it?
hear
The
it.
only time you listen is when you're on.
Well, that's what's been said. But yeah, I'm struggling here. Now you see, I'm rambling. I don't know what's going on. maybe it is the only time I listen to it. No, I definitely try to listen to it. But you see, Mark, don't laugh back there because now I really got to listen to the Slow Bloom. Yeah, I definitely will check that out. Tell me about it real quick.
Oh,
Give me
they
a quick.
did a really good job of telling the whole story and
Yeah.
what they're doing now, and the evolution of what happened with Augie's Coffee.
Absolutely,
and all
that's
that.
a great story.
Yeah, it's a great
It's
story.
a great story that should continue to be told. I was fortunate enough to be there that evening last year with Sean and
Mario, yeah.
Mario, yeah, when we went with Slow Bloom and everything. So that was a great, to me, that was a good moment in history for me to see something like that. It was
And
exciting.
your group is so active with the small businesses in Redlands. It's just great to see. Have you signed up any new Teamster Advantage partners, or you've been slacking?
No. I'm slacking a little bit. I'm really getting a beat down here on this radio today. I didn't know that this is what I was coming on for. I got to be ready next time. So
Commonly called an ambush.
Okay, an ambush. There you go. Okay, no. So we do have One Love, i.e.
You better think twice about.
Yeah,
Maybe
next
you shouldn't
time.
have. See, back when we were over at
Uh-huh.
the other studio, you'd always be lurking out the window because it was
yeah.
close to work. And now that we're
Now-
over here in the building, we don't ever get to see you.
I know. It's like I don't even know who you guys are anymore. Look at that. It's like I forgot. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. But no. We're still. No, I'm kidding. We're still hammering it down with Teamster Advantage. Absolutely. One Love IE was the one who was most recently signed. And then I'm going to reach out to Cornerstone because they just moved into a third location into the public market in downtown Redlands, was just opened a few weeks ago. So good for Cornerstone. 2 locations in Redlands now. It's amazing. So we're going to confirm that. I believe they're going to be doing Teamster Advantage there as well. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I haven't been to the public market yet. I saw it the other day when I was in the area,
Yeah.
and I was like, got to get over there. So
Yeah, no, I had an opportunity to go in there just in the evening to check it out. It's definitely, super busy right now. 'cause
Did you
it's
drink a
fresh and
beer?
new. What's that?
Did you drink a beer when you were there in the evening?
No, we actually were at another Teamster Advantage place prior to that. We were at Three Stags just right up the street.
And
we
you
said,
did
"Let's-"
there, though, right?
And I had a drink there, yeah. And then
Right.
we said, we're going to walk and just go check out the public market. So it's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, I hear. We definitely got to make it in there. Got to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what else is going on here? I know you
I'm
guys are
busy.
really active on
Yes.
the I'm In campaign.
Yes.
You're really trying to push everybody to fill out the survey. What's
Absolutely. In terms of the I'm In campaign, let's just call it what it is. It's a petition, for our members to come together. It's about protecting public workers, workers in general, from different, and I may be saying this incorrectly, Randy, so correct me, but from different types of laws and legislation being put in place is going to make it more difficult for us to continue to have collective bargaining even exist in the first place.
Yeah, it's dangerous to see that
Absolutely.
some people are arguing that collective bargaining needs to be ended.
Scary.
Now, their justification to end public sector collective bargaining, isn't a far cry from outlawing it for private sector too. Like
Correct. It's right there.
Oh well, it's different. It's interesting because a lot of these people that rail against public sector bargaining are actually getting tax dollars in their private entities. In other words, they're getting subsidies
Correct.
or tax dollars. And so, well, are you private entity if you're getting millions of dollars in tax dollars? Like, no, you're actually a public entity. So the whole fight over attacking public employees or the unions or giving away these tax dollars is always been corporate America's grab to get more of that money. Like,
correct.
They have been, their profits in the last 50 years have been at an all-time high, and they're still not satisfied.
Yeah.
So let's take some more.
It's unbelievable. You know, we talk about it a lot, but what it comes down to is there's a lot of people that they need to know what's going on. People need to be educated on what's happening. And people need to understand that when we allow something like this to take place and we just sit back and don't do anything as a collective group of working class people, then we just set a precedent moving forward. You know, if I look at it, an attack on one working class person is like an attack on all working class people.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Absolutely.
It is an attack on one is attack on all. So
yeah, it's a dangerous time right
and
now.
Pomona's in the house, by the way. I got a live shout out that I missed earlier. Pomona's in the house, so
Pomona,
it's not
woo-woo.
right. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so...
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. No, so continuing on,
you looked at me
though,
like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, I
just
wasn't
now.
sure. I said, wait a minute, where are we going next? So, no, continuing on, though, right now, the work that I'm doing with our stewards and the members is, you know, having those one-on-one conversations, those group conversations to find out what people are knowing, you know, what people understand what's going on. You'd be surprised. I was surprised at how many people were not aware of what was happening in Utah. You know, the media is only going to, you know, show what's going to get ratings and what needs to be put out there. But there's a lot of stuff that's happening that impact your everyday neighbor, working class people that we need to be aware
especially if you're listening to or watching Fox News or
Absolutely.
certain, you know, Newsmax. There's a bunch of them. They're not going to talk about what's going on in Utah that way.
Absolutely
not. They're not going to bring it out. And look, you know, I'm not taking a shot at you. You know, listen to whoever you want.
Correct.
But take it all with a grain of salt, because the media doctrine being eliminated turns these things into their information, you know, platforms for corporate America, regardless of what side of the party line they're on. Getting real news is very difficult for people to sort out anymore. I know I spend the better part of early every morning literally trying to sort out what's news and what's junk.
Absolutely.
And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to sort that out. There is a way to do it, and maybe we'll have a show on that. But, you know, the reality is it's not going to be talked about in certain spaces because they want to make everybody mad about something else. Because corporate America is really agitating workers to be mad at each other.
Absolutely.
And if the longer we fight each other and claw each other's eyeballs out, the less likely we are to get together and hold somebody else accountable.
Absolutely, and it kind of brings me to a question, I think maybe even a statement I had heard you made. So at this point in time, you know, as we continue to now have these conversations about, you know, what potentially can be coming down the pipe here to California, I think that's when we kind of need to leave, and you tell me if I'm wrong, like, these conversations don't need to be so much politicized as much as just dealing with the facts,
that's right? They shouldn't be politicized at all.
They need to just deal with the facts of what's happening around us, what are we seeing, and how do we how are we getting prepared for this?
Yeah, you know, some people get turned off by the politics, then, you know, turn around and say something political. I always find the irony in it, but regardless of that, we're not going to politicize it. Look, for all of you that listen, if you voted for Donald Trump, then fine. Hold him accountable. Like the things, the executive orders he's signing right now are not helping working people. If I am wrong, please send me an email. You know, why don't you reach out to us at what's our radio handle?
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Let's. Anyway, I lost my guy in here, so I'm not sure. I got to get it in front of me so I can read it real quick. Anyway. My memory is not as great as it used to be.
I got it for you, Randy.
Go. What is it?
Radio show at Teamsters1932.org.
Yeah, that's really simple. I should know that. Come on, Randy.
We'll get it.
Radio show at Teamsters1932.org.
Well, you've been in there sparring with James for the last
I've been getting
10
beat up.
minutes.
I wouldn't call it sparring. I've been getting socked up pretty good.
I got some touch up for that eye.
Thank you. So see, he's gotten beat up too before. So
anyway, you know, look, if these executive orders are not attacking working people, they're actually helping them, and I'm missing something, and I'm reading, maybe I'm being brainwashed by somebody else or something else, and I'm missing it, feel free to send me an email and let me know. I've had some people text me, and when I've corrected them and sent them factual information, they actually, you know, thank you for the information, and then I don't get a fight anymore.
Yeah.
Not that I was looking to fight. I'm just like you said, I just want to present the facts. I'm not going to turn it into politics and say,
Correct.
oh, I'm mad, this and that. I mean, am I wondering why we said it was okay to turn our country over to a couple billionaires that are just, that don't understand how all this works? And I don't understand that, but the majority voted. It is what it is. And now what you have to do is you have to try to hold those people accountable. So what do you think of the letter I put out on February 1st? I have it sitting in front of you. Do you remember that letter?
Yeah.
So what was your thought when I put that letter out? Because I just want you to know what sparked me to write this letter was the executive order that tried to abolish bargaining. It was a couple days before the executive order that attempted to abolish bargaining for workers that had just ratified their contracts under the previous administration. And therefore, I was like, okay, now this is going down a road that is very dangerous when you start eliminating bargaining, which we've seen more of that, correct?
Absolutely.
So what were your thoughts when you saw this letter? Because obviously this is not political. At least I don't believe this is political.
Yeah, no. Someone could try to make it like, I don't know what the right word is. I don't know if it's like sobering or like it's just unbelievable. Like, to have to receive a letter like this about the things that are happening, I think it's just a realization, a real wake-up call of these.
Do some people think they get this letter and maybe look at it and go, this can't be true? The union's just running some narrative for the Democrats?
I think it's safe to say that some people perhaps think that, absolutely.
So how do we get them to change their mind? How do we get them to understand that that's not true?
Well,
what do we got to do? You're a worker.
Yeah.
You work around a lot of people that are Democrats, Republicans,
Absolutely.
independents.
Me personally, what it comes down to is, I need to have my facts straight, but I seriously love having one-on-one conversations. For me personally, and I do group conversations as well, and I do like texting links, but I want to also have like a follow-up afterward. If I text you something, let's follow up and have a conversation, even if it's just 5 minutes. But me personally, just having these conversations for me, one-on-one, listening to what the other
with
party
facts.
has. With facts, yes, absolutely. I try and come with facts. And again, like you said, maybe we'll do a show on fact-checking. I try and do my best research, kind of like you would do if you're doing, writing a report and so forth, certain ways to fact check. Maybe that's something, we'll our members will learn more about, but fact checking and not politicizing the conversation as much as possible and just having those one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, let's break down this survey that we put out last week, a week ago today. And
which was great.
The first question is, are you concerned about the attacks nationwide on public workers? Are you a yes or a no?
I am a yes.
Do you mind if I ask you these questions?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
I'm a yes.
We'll have some fun with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what the goal of this, James, was, first of all, the letter itself was me seeing something happening and going, okay, well, I'm not happy about this.
Correct.
So what am I going to do? I'm not just going to sit around and complain and get on the microphone and just rail against an individual. What I'm going to do is try to educate people on how these policies that are coming down are affecting them. And let's do it with facts, which are obviously spelled out in the letter. And then what we're doing is following up with it within a short period of time and now putting a survey out. Because, look, if we put this survey out and all of our members come back and say no, that they're not concerned and that they don't believe these things impact them, then I'm a quack job, right? I got my own issue, and
you and me both. We're quack jobs,
right?
Yeah.
So I really want to know, right?
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
This is
important.
something that's we're asking.
Correct.
Like we really want to know where people are on it. So do you think that are you concerned about the attacks nationwide on public sector workers? Now, somebody may read that survey right out the gate and say, "Oh, this is propaganda." Okay, well, try not to. We have to try to encourage people not to shut themselves out, especially if it's their union
absolutely
that's reaching out to them.
And that's when when I'm talking with our members, I let them know, hey, this is this is our union working for us. This is us trying to get ahead of the game. This is us trying to educate the members. This is us trying to be prepared, because I'm not sure who else is doing it, but I know we're going to now. And additionally, when I talk to the members about this questionnaire, You know, and some of them, you know, answer with no problems. They're happy, and some are like, hey, what's with these questions? At the end of the day, it's kind of scary to know some of these things that they didn't know either. And so I'm telling them, just like you said, this is an educational component.
Purpose of the survey.
Absolutely. This allows us to collect the data of what our members know, and then what our members don't know in Redlands. If we can extract that information, then I know where I need to kind of hit and educate these members. But just an awakening in general for people to know what's going on.
And so the next question, are you aware that in Utah, the legislature passed a law that makes collective bargaining illegal for all public sector workers? How many people don't know that you run into?
Almost everyone that I ran into, family members. I can tell you a lot of people in Redlands know it now because our business agent made it a point to educate us on that, as well as make sure we're making everyone else aware. So we went and did our own research on it and everything as well.
Yeah, feel free. Hey, if I'm spreading a narrative, radio show at teamsters1932.org, right?
That's it.
I remembered it this time.
You did a really good job, too.
Right. So, look, if there's something we're missing, send us the link, you know, put us the information in there.
Yeah.
Let us get. I try to scrub this stuff, you know, like when I did the right to work stuff years ago when the right to work, the origins of right to work was brought to me. I made sure we scrubbed the living daylights out of that because it was pretty like volatile subject,
Absolutely.
right? When you really look at the nasty racial undertones of right to work, and I didn't want to be wrong,
correct,
at putting something out like that and trying to exploit certain situations. And anyway, we've done the same thing here. Like we've really tried to make sure that there's facts behind everything that we're saying, and so you would say 90% of who you're engaging, they don't understand, or maybe better than that, they didn't know what's going on with
didn't know what was going on at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. So hopefully this helps create more awareness.
Yeah, I think it will.
So are you aware that most of the federal workers whose future is completely up in the air are union members and under a collective bargaining agreement? How are people answering that one?
They put that they didn't know.
They weren't sure.
They weren't sure, correct.
So how does the exchange happening? This is what I really like about this conversation. How is the exchange happening once they find out that they have a union contract and like, whoa.
Well, and interesting because it seems like they hit home a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, because it's the worker just like them.
Correct. It hits home a little bit more. And so and I tell them this thing can travel. You know, things travel, something happened in
So
Utah.
give me an example of a federal worker you interface with, probably reclamation, the Bureau of Land Management. Are you dealing with any water where you're exchanging water where you may be dealing with federal employees?
Me, not personally.
How about the city?
But the city in general, I would assume so. Also, possibly through some type of federal regulations that we have to abide by and so forth. We do a lot of reporting to the state and everything.
So think of all the federal employees that are having to deal with pulling water off the Colorado River.
They're involved to some extent. Yeah, EPA and so forth. Absolutely, we're all working.
EPA.
People.
Yeah. What are we hearing about the EPA right now?
Well, no, that too. Absolutely. So,
what am I saying?
Well, what did you hear about the EPA?
About how they're trying to gut the EPA?
That's what I thought.
Environmental Protection Agency?
Yeah.
Which impacts your job, doesn't it? Yes or no?
Yeah. Whether you can't draw the line, it's there, though. It's there. There's interconnections to everything that we do. It has the ability to impact our work.
So the enforcement of clean water and trying to make sure that the clean water you deal with on one end doesn't get mixed up with the dirty water on the other end.
Yeah,
right?
You don't want that.
We don't want that.
That's called brown water.
Right. There's EPA regulations for that, right?
Absolutely. Same with we're talking about air quality and so forth. We're putting in the air with our landfill that we have there and so forth. So absolutely,
So you're interfacing with all these federal employees
at some capacity. Absolutely.
So, is there a particular exchange of a conversation you can think about where people's eyes were opened up regarding making them realizing that those federal employees were just like you?
Yeah, I would say the first small group of members that I talked to, they were completely. They know some stuff, but they didn't know to this extent until I brought it to their attention. They wouldn't have. Even if I wouldn't have told them, they still would have gone on not knowing this information. It's incredible.
So how does the next question, which is, do you feel a sense of urgency on the issue, how's that go over?
I feel that it's 50-50. I feel people naturally feel like, hey, the sense of urgency is we got to do something, not too sure what that is. Other people, I think, don't feel a sense of urgency because they don't feel it hitting home at this moment. They don't see anything.
Let's talk about that.
Right?
Let's take a real quick break. Let's talk about that. Literally, let's take a 30-second or 45-second break. I think that I'd like to hear that. I'd really like to hear why the lack of urgency or the reason why in your exchanges somebody would think that. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Mark, take a quick break.
Born and raised in South Detroit, he took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time.
We're back. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, longtime organizer, first-time radio host in KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm joined by James Estrada. James Estrada from the city of Redlands, and we're having this great conversation about a survey that we put out. I'm only in question like 4 or 5, and I got like 100 of them. I'm just kidding. I don't have 100. But there was a question I asked you before we broke, and that is, do you feel a sense of urgency? I know I'm going to make an assumption.
Correct.
The answer for you is yes. But you've actually had some people answer honestly and say no. I'd like for you to talk through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking with some of the members and just in people in general, but specifically when we talk about, let's real quick, do you feel the sense of urgency in addressing this issue? Some of the members don't, because it's not something that seems tangible. It's not something that's close. It's not something that's close to home that they feel is impacting them. And so I have to kind of work through that conversation and let them know that, rights are being stripped away from working class people just like you and I. Federal workers are not, those people are our neighbors. Those people go to church with us. We go to school with their kids. They single moms, single dads, grandparents, young adults. At the end of the
Putting
day,
kids through college.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. At the end of the day, I have to make that connection and let them know, federal worker, someone working in Utah, we're all collectively in the same boat. We're all working class people trying to make a living and make a retirement and have some dignity and respect. And the sense of urgency, they might not feel it now, but we need to jump on it before it's too late.
So do you feel like you've been able to turn the corner with some people?
Absolutely.
How?
It takes just by simply stating the facts, having some conversations, kind of just hitting home about, like I said, a lot of these rights that are being taken away are people just like us, neighbors and so forth. And people need to understand that this is impactful all the way across the board, not just for a specific group of federal workers that that we think, hey, they're overpaid.
Yeah, they're over here, and I don't know who they are,
Correct.
and it doesn't impact me.
Exactly. And so it's just, it's challenging. There's some pushback. You got to make sure to keep the political conversation out of this because there's no room for it at this point in time here. We just need to deal with the facts.
Mhm.
And so, with some of these members, they understand.
Well, it's interesting because I ran into this subject when Biden took office, I had some people come back and jam me up immediately over the pipeline stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where the pipeline jobs were eliminated because of a position taken as a result. It was an environmental position,
Yep.
and it was an issue with the Native American tribes that the pipeline rolled through. And I remember some people jamming me up, and I said, no, you're right. The Biden administration took a position that eliminated those jobs. You're 100% correct. I am, do I agree with it? No. Is there another way to solve it? That's a great question. I think we should get into the conversation on how we solve it. And then what I immediately did was pointed to that the legislation that was passed that saved millions of workers' pensions immediately after him taking office, and that was a infusion of cash for retirees or soon-to-be retirees to protect their retirement funds, right?
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Oh,
4
yeah,
years
absolutely.
ago.
It was big.
And so it was huge right
Yeah,
now. It was like
huge.
4 years ago right now.
Yeah.
I actually still saved the clip in my phone. And so sometimes we don't agree politically with what the person we supported did. And so we kind of got to admit to it and own it and then look
Absolutely.
and unpack it. And so I think that a lot of people are going to have to try to do that now, because the difference between those jobs, let's say on the pipeline, versus what we're seeing in the amount of jobs now being, like 47,000 jobs impacted by them losing their collective bargaining rights for TSA. Those are very important people doing this very important job. These are things that we have to say, well, here are the facts. What's what the administration did, and what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to say, oh, well, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, no, and unfortunately, it's a good question to ask. Going right back to that, though, one common thing that I'm hearing a lot of, I hear some members say, and even just family members and friends in general, there is this belief, like when we talk about, oh, this has a potential to happen, this has a potential to happen, this is coming down the pipe. There's a common saying that people say, oh, they won't let it happen, they won't let it happen. My question is, who is they?
Yeah.
Who is they?
Yep. That's a good
Because
question.
yeah, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, it's us that needs to do something at this point in time now.
So the next question is, what type of actions would you be willing to participate in to demonstrate 1932's worker power and supporting workers across the nation? And then obviously you got to, the first thing is strike, attend a rally, all the different things. How's that conversation happening?
Some of those, conversations for some are a little intimidating. I let members know, the goal is not to get to that point. There's a lot of things we're going to try and do.
But workers have got to get to a space where they're willing to strike.
They do, and so that's why
they have to. Or else what happens is the employer is just going to walk right over you.
Well, it's almost like you
don't have to do it.
Correct. But it's almost like calling someone's bluff, you know what I mean? At some point in time,
yeah.
you have
to be ready.
We've been through that, and the membership has to be ready. It has to be ready. So in these conversations with them, some are really gung-ho.
I'll tell you
energized.
a line that I've always used over the years is I have sometimes some of my biggest complainers that I've dealt with within representation end up being the ones that freak out the most when a potential strike is coming.
Yep.
And I look at them and go, oh, no. For all the complaining that you do, you need this strike more than anybody
You better be in the front of the line there.
That's right.
No, I know exactly what you're
You better be holding
talking
the
about.
sign the highest. You better be participating the most.
Oh, yeah.
Because you, for years or decades, in some cases I can say decades.
Oh, yeah.
The decades I've heard you complaining about this and that and da-da-da and all, and being mad and the employer needs to do this. Well, here's your opportunity to show unequivocally where you stand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking with members. We've had some members that, really go in hard, and I'm like, hey, I can get you down to council. You can talk with them. I'm like, oh, well, no, I don't really want to say anything. It's like, well, gotta follow through with what we're gonna do here. And like you're saying, all these things may be necessary if we gotta show up and strike or whatever it is, and that's what we have to do.
Yeah, we can't be, have tough guy through our phone.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
oh, I can get on. And I think that's what's happening. Back in the day, man, you had to tell somebody. You didn't have social media that you could hide behind. And you could say something and you're 1,000 miles away and you're not going to be held accountable. I mean, someone would, they'd show up and,
I believe
did
it.
you say this?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe at a different
Remember?
time. Yeah.
We have to take to the streets. Keyboard warriors, it's like wait for the comments. Ooh,
yeah.
Wow, that's scary.
Well, and look, I'm going to say it like it is. Half the reason, not half the reason, but a portion of the reason why I'm putting this survey out is I want to see where people are.
Yep.
Like if our members don't care and our members are like, nah, I'll just take whatever happens, then don't come complain to me
Correct.
when things go a negative way. Like this isn't, you can't have it both ways.
Absolutely.
And
I
we're
agree.
in that moment. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And I agree. And what you said there too is conversations that I am having to have as well. You can't have it both ways. Cannot have it both ways.
People will try though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They'll try.
They will try and play both sides
I want
of the
you to
fence.
do it all for me, and I'm not gonna do anything. right?
Exactly.
You know, I'm gonna sit back. My role is to judge you.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Not participate, but judge you.
Or tell you what you should and shouldn't do, but I'm not going to do any of it.
Yeah.
Get that a lot.
Yeah. So, do you think the right to bargain for public employees is safe from being abolished in California?
I don't think it's safe from being abolished at this moment.
I don't think it's safe anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially if you see what you see already propped up at the federal level. What if Congress passes a law that says all public employees no longer have the right to bargain? That's not a far step from the one
isn't.
I just read earlier today.
No, it isn't. It's right there. They're right. They're running side by side with each other. It's right there.
Well, and I think that we need to get into that space. You know, Mark said it earlier. He doesn't have the mic in front of him, but he had said, in Utah, you're going to have a lot of firefighters and police officers and public employees that are going to be looking for work somewhere, because in Wisconsin, when they eliminated collective bargaining for everybody in Wisconsin in 2011, what you saw statistically was that they left the state and they went to neighboring states and found other jobs, because they say they'd been doing the job 20 years or 15 years or 17 years or 25 years. Like, you're at the end of what are you going to do? You're going to switch careers?
Yeah.
It wasn't that their jobs were eliminated, but their benefits and their pay and a lot of that stuff was restructured.
A lot of reason they showed up to those jobs every day. And then, when people leave a city, a small city, town, I mean, what happens to that town and city? It's not good for the economy and so forth. So it has a long-lasting effect, I think, just all the way through.
So how does that question go over when you talk to workers, to your coworkers?
Which question was this? The one we were just talking about?
The California, it being abolished in California.
They're.
It's not going to happen here.
They just, I don't think they understand the significance of it, and it goes back to they won't let it happen. Well, the only they that I'm going to aware of is going to be us that's going to be pushing for that.
Yeah, who's they?
Yeah, I keep saying who's they. Like,
and
give me
what's
a
their
name.
response when you say that?
They're like, they don't have an answer. They kind of feel
that's great.
Yeah, they
that's
don't have
good
an
that
answer.
You call them out on it.
Yeah, and like wishful thinking. I would like to think, there's some superhero.
There's a magic they.
Yeah, but I think that magic they is the local 1932.
Right.
I think we are the they.
Right.
That's what I told them. This is it.
Yeah, we don't have any power unless people are willing to fight.
I think this is the first time where I feel literally working class people have to come together. Like, we just have to, come together and we just all have to stick together. It's just us against everyone else, I think, when it comes to working class.
How about the next question? Are you aware that a national right to work bill has been introduced into Congress? I'm assuming nobody is aware of that.
No.
Do they even know what that means?
No, they have an idea, but I break it down a little bit more for them so they can understand.
How do they feel after you break it down?
They like it's always like a blank look on their face, like, really? Like, dang? Like, well, yeah. Like, what do you think? This is we're not playing games here. This is people's livelihoods we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's serious business.
So when you're done with that part of the conversation, do you feel like you've moved them a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like I move them. I feel that
until they get home and turn on Fox News and
possibly
get mad about something on the TV.
But I tell
kidding.
them, no, it's true though. No. I mean, all those are real things though.
Yes,
like, everything you're saying is real. So I got to not politicize the conversation, like we were saying, right? Keep it focused on the facts. And when I feel like I'm resonating, the few groups that I've had a chance to talk to, I believe are filling it out right there and then with me. They're kind of going through the questions. And that's my opportunity to give them some educational components as well. But
so how do they respond to that next question? Do you believe that workers flexing their power and withholding their labor can help hold these attacks? Help hold off these attacks.
So I think for some of our members, they understand that, they know that, they believe in that. They know
Yeah,
worker
they engage
power.
in that in a small
Correct.
scale.
At some
Yeah.
point in time, there's some other people that just haven't had to experience that yet, so they may be a little standoffish on that. But in terms of the members, though, that kind of know how this works. These are some of the things that we just have to do at times. And, members are going to have to be tasked to show up when we need to show
I
up.
just got a text. This is perfect.
What'd you get?
This is perfect. Oh, I got to open my phone up again. Someone needs to tell federal workers that they need to shut it down. They hold way more power than they realize. Yeah, shut it down.
Absolutely.
Like some would say, oh, no, if I shut it down, then they're going to fire everybody. No, shut it down so they recognize how important you are.
Yeah. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Absolutely. Thank you for sending that in to me, texting me, by the way. I love this part of the
That was great.
interaction.
Yeah.
No, someone needs, and by the way, they said that this conversation is great.
Oh, good.
That this is very helpful.
Good,
They
good,
feel like
yeah.
it's helpful to other people.
Well, excellent.
And so do you agree we need to show our worker power to politicians around the county and state so they know not to test us when it comes to our collective bargaining rights?
Absolutely.
How's everybody respond to that one?
In Redlands, they're understanding of that because
They did it already.
We've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
they got to step it up now because this
they
is a
gotta
whole new
step
level.
it up. Yeah, it's this is not just in the city. This is bigger than that. Absolutely.
So I always love this question. It's always interesting. Do you believe the public has a favorable opinion of you as a public employee and understands and appreciates the essential services you provide? How does everybody answer this when you ask them that question?
They're like no.
Right.
Like, yeah, like it's like a big no.
Right.
It's a laugh. They laugh at it.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, why is that even on there as well? It's a good question though.
We want to know.
Well, and people need to realize that that's a real thing. Like that's they know that, but this is all the
It's
more
a
reason.
reminder
Correct.
that somebody can toss you in the trash.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
just cut the budget.
It's a reminder that someone will support someone taking away a collective
cut the
bargaining.
budget and give
Correct.
me a $5,000 check.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my goodness! Can you believe people are actually in that
Yeah.
space right now?
It's
fire
insane.
hundreds of thousands of people, and I get a $5,000 check because they all lost their jobs and can't pay their mortgages.
Yeah, I'm sure they're.
Where are we when we're cheering for that?
It's disgusting.
Yes,
It's disgusting. It's the best way I can describe that. It's disgusting.
and they're attacking public employees to do that.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's that right there. I think that question is one of the most important to be asked.
I think it's a telling tale of how much support people could have from the community. So.
Do you support the firing of federal workers that is happening right now? How are people answering that? They say yes or no?
Well, everyone's saying no so far. They're saying no so far.
Have you had
which is
anybody
good.
say yes?
No, and I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to say
Yeah,
yes in
they
front of
ain't
me.
gonna say yes
Perhaps
in front of
'cause
you.
they'll
That's
look at
good. That's good,
yeah.
though, you know.
I was gonna give them a Randy Corrigan look. Like what? They're gonna get.
What's a Randy Corrigan look?
I
What's
don't
that
know
mean?
yet. I don't know. It's intimidating though. Yeah, it's intimidating. It's a good look though. It's good. It gets the job done. It gets the job done.
Oh boy! All right. Do you anticipate that impending federal cuts will impact you and your coworkers?
I anticipate that it absolutely has the potential to. Absolutely.
How are that responding to when you ask that question of your coworkers?
So that last one is a little bit more triggering, for people because wait, like that's fine that it's happening. As long as it's
I
happening.
didn't think about it
Correct.
trickling down.
Correct. So now that it has the real potential to impact me and impact me in what way? Oh, okay. Now they have an issue with it.
The reason I'm going through this exercise is because I'm trying to emphasize how important this is.
Absolutely.
And I'm, ironically, my wife is sitting here in the studio, and she watched me on February 1st pace around the house the morning of February 1st, which is a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I would call it like an explosive sort of behavior. I wasn't breaking anything. I just was like beside myself with what I was
you were
seeing.
just on edge. Yeah.
And was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this as a leader?
Correct.
What am I going to do? Am I just going to sit around and be mad, or am I going to do something about it? And so I concocted all this stuff and said, we're going to be moving in this direction, and we're going to be doing certain things. And came up with this survey. People helped me obviously come up with the survey. I didn't just do it on my own, but I agitated the space. And I'm like, we're going to do something. I'm going to engage in trying to make something happen, and then agitating people to participate.
Absolutely.
And seeing where they are. Because, quite frankly, if everybody just wants to just accept what's going to happen to them and they're not willing to participate in their future, then let me know, please, so that I don't waste a lot of sleep,
Yeah.
and being upset and energy. If people just
Correct.
like, no, I'm not going to fight. Whatever, we're cool. Like, I don't want my job. I don't care about my retirement, and you can gut my benefits. Like, if people are there, we just need to know. That's the purpose of this, and hopefully that's getting across in the right way.
Yeah, I think it's very impactful. I think that it was an eye-opener for our members. I think our members now are going to have a different perspective. And I have to say, I just want to, I'm so proud you and our local is doing this. Because, again, I can't wait for they. We are the they, so we are doing something.
They's not going to let it happen, which that's all of us.
Exactly.
Including them.
Yeah, them and they.
Right,
Exactly.
them is they.
Exactly.
A nice little play on all the pronouns
absolutely,
stuff.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, yeah, no, this is great. I'm so and then also too, I'm letting our members know, hey, you need, like, this is what you want to see coming out of our. Or this is, hopefully there's other, unions and locals doing this. Because imagine this, on a much bigger scale.
Well, that's the idea. I want
Absolutely.
to make sure we do it the right way on this scale first, and I want to make sure that everybody's engaged in it
Yeah.
and they're participating and
build on it.
And
from
don't
there.
take no for an answer. This stuff where you have a coworker that's like, "Oh no, I'm not going to engage in it." Well, then don't. The first people I would go to is the people that complain the most.
Absolutely.
And say, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Like if you think that you should have more pay or this and that, because every single day I have people that feel like. Based on some comparison somewhere, they should make more money and have a better benefit and this and that. That's fine. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm okay with occupying that space as long as we're going to fight for it.
Yes.
Don't just say, well, that's why I pay my union dues. Like, unions were built on a shared responsibility. The financial payment is the administrative obligation. The movement of workers is the membership's obligation. That is a fact. That's what gives us power. If everything was just write the check and someone's going to do it for me, then that means I have no concept of how
Correct.
difficult the work is. The work being what it takes to pass a law.
Absolutely.
Or to pass a policy or to fight a policy that's going to crush you.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you said. Shared responsibility. We're built on shared everybody has to pull their weight.
So I just got a couple minutes left in the show. Is there anything you want to say closing out this part of the show? Great job, James. I love this exchange.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I blindsided you. You weren't sure that we were going to do this.
Yeah, no, real quick. Let me just turn around because we touched on it for a second, but just another shout out to our 1932 Training Center for hosting the Career Day. Sorry if you guys already talked about it earlier, but real quick,
you
it
need
was
to listen
fantastic.
to the show a little more.
Yeah, I know. Oh, so there he is throwing another jab. All right. So no, it was a great turnout.
Wasn't it amazing?
The interaction with the high school kids, you could just see the look on their face. It was very impactful, and we're also going to now work with Redlands Unified School Districts. So we're hooking them up with a training center, and this is just going to grow. So yeah. Lastly, I just really want to say that it was a fantastic career day, and excited for another one to come. Absolutely.
So, how are we building worker power? We're building worker power because we're talking to our friends, we're talking to our neighbors, we're putting a survey out, we're putting a petition out, and we're asking people, are you in? I'm in, are you in? And are you going to engage in this? And are you going to participate in a way where you hold these massive corporations or your employers accountable? And the way we do is talk to our friends, we talk to our neighbors, and we move them into a space where we collectively either bargain and or we collectively withhold our work until they respect it. And I'm a longtime organizer, first-time radio host. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Don't forget, we're also streaming live all the time, as well as live from San Bernardino. Eric, take it away. See you guys next week. We got some great guests on next week.
Hooligans in Brooklyn, dead right. If they head right, Biggie there, and night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruce Cruz who? Do something to us. Talk goes through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters 1932.org.
For KCAA 1050 AM NBC News Radio and Express 106.5 FM. A young San Bernardino motorist driving a stolen vehicle is expected to face several felony charges for instigating a police chase through Victorville that ultimately cost the sheriff's deputy his life. Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr. was in pursuit when he was involved in a collision with another vehicle. Cuevas served the San Bernardino